Hey everybody, welcome to Tony's podcast. We didn't have a show today. There was a screw up in the communication, and anyway, decided I'm burning the late night oils. I figured I better get into something so that everybody knows that I'm still alive. We're okay. I haven't been abducted, taken over by aliens or anything like that. As per usual, I do broadcast on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 Eastern, or 6 Eastern. It's an hour show, so if you have a chance, tune in. If not, come to the Podbean and get the show from there. I'm also published throughout the internet these days. Seems like everywhere you turn around, my name shows up. And there's also, I'm listed with buybluesky.com with Susan Marr, who was assaulted and attacked by frequency weapons in the last couple weeks. She's recovering. And Brian396 as well, who's got some awesome information throughout the internet. Check him out. Check out the information. Check out the data. GagCanada.com. Bernadette Green, she basically has the documentation and legalities of what's going on. If you're interested in seeing how Canada, United States, and the rest of the world got screwed in this deal, you may want to check her site out. I'm going to get into some things I get on email a lot today. I normally don't. I do get into this once in a while. But because I've been getting so many of it lately, it just seems like a lot of people don't know how to read. Or don't know how to begin to open to read. Or don't know how to access information from the internet correctly. And they watch things and they see things and they get caught up in all kinds of, television bullshit. End of story. Today's show I can be a little bit more casual with my language because I'm not on the Micro Effect. With the Micro Effect I can be a little bit more, I have to be a little bit more restrained. So since it says I'm burning the wee night oils and I'm going to be talking about this stuff, my language may get a little coarse. If you can't handle it, tune it out, move on, or tough it through. Either way, I don't apologize for my language because we are at war, and war has a way of making us see things and perceive things and makes us react. And sometimes some people get offended because we're using strong language. But I think in today's time, a lot of you need to hear the strong language because you're too busy being placated and pacified with eloquence. You think because someone can speak eloquently to you, it gives you the justification to fall asleep and not take heed of what somebody's saying, or get caught up in an advertisement campaign that's designed to appeal to your childhood or the kid in you. I have a different approach. I think you need to get hit in the head really hard today because you're so asleep and so caught up with the world and the things of this world that it takes a boot in the head to get some of you to even just to stir out of the bed. So, and I think it's needed today. I don't see how eloquence does anything but put most of you to sleep. The eloquent language, as far as I can see, has made us so complacent that we should have taken action on these things 30 years ago, but because we've been seduced to a state of hypnosis, we've done nothing. And now we're all worried about getting caught up and running and racing and whatever and so forth and so on. A lot of you don't even know about artificial intelligence, how it's already running the planet, how we have a super AI right now in the United States going up this year, 2018. China's putting up one in 2020, and the United States is putting up another one in 2021. What does that say? The artificial intelligence is basically going to be a DNA operating system. Where are they getting this DNA? From you. There's a carbon C60 product. This is really a pet peeve and it's really a piss off. 3 people in the last 3 weeks have died connected to carbon C60. 3 people. Just heard it today. Somebody got killed using that shit, and 2 other people in the last week or so. And the biggest thing I've been getting feedback on, it's affecting the brain. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. None of these nanometals should be consumed, utilized as a supplement or a vitamin or a drug because these things don't come out. and they get lodged throughout the organs. The C60 is designed to embed itself into the central nervous system, into the brain, and into the DNA so that it can be basically harmonized with whatever frequency gets activated. Some of you have this illusion that terahertz frequencies does not penetrate the skin. I do not understand where you got that information. If you think this, you're stupid. You obviously don't understand the nature of terahertz, and that's a higher form of microwave radiation, and it can penetrate a lot more things than they tell you. 5G is going to go through your homes and it's going to cook you in your own home. The bullshit they're telling you that doesn't penetrate the home is horse shit. It's probably going to charge your homes in a probably a positive charge, which is going to affect your health even more. You're going to be violated even harder and harder and harder. They are pushing and pushing to see how weak or how docile or how domesticated or how basically brain dead you become. Because every time they initiate these type of technologies, there should be an uproar by every citizen across the planet. But instead, it just, status quo. Everything's status quo. We're just going to go with the flow. We're going to, go to our grave knowing full damn well that these people have been trying to kill us. Instead of us standing up and telling them to FRO, to get the heck out, get out of our countries, get out of our planet, if that's the case. Don't come back. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Instead, we sit there, guzzle our beer, put on the makeup, watch the sporting events, the soap opera events, because life goes on in the big city and everything is all right in your world. When I get emails constantly asking me these stupid questions, and at this stage of the game I gotta say stupid, because none of you are going to the sources of the information. Okay, none of you. Or the very few that are going are, again, few and far between. So this discussion is not for those of you who are accessing the information like you should because you're already doing it. But for the other people who seem to think that you can get by, and then you ask me questions that you shouldn't be asking, because you should already be known the answers, because you went to my site, augmentedforce.com, Brian396.com, you should have went to his site, ByeByeBlueSky.com, clicking on the health link and then accessing the nanomore gallons link. You should have went to these sites and you should have read the information. There's lots there. You get overwhelmed. Take it in small bits and bites. But if you don't understand the adversary that you're dealing with, you're going to get your ass kicked hard. They're going to stomp a mud hole in your backside and walk it dry, because you are not paying attention like you should. And you get caught up in this whole this kind of, I don't know what it is, this soupy, soppy shit. I don't know how else to put it. Read the bloody information. It's already there. It's been put there for you, and it's free. No, I should have put a $500 charge on you. I would have had you guys lined up to read the thing. That information was put there for your benefit, so that you would understand what's going on and how to be able to see what is happening. And while you're all breaking down, all of you are breaking down in some form or fashion. Autoimmune disorders, cancer disorders, diabetic disorders, cellular DNA damage, brain damage, visual damage, thyroid damage, thymus damage, penile damage, testicle damage, ovarian damage, uterine damage. Yeah, some of you are in your 20s having these health issues. That's absurd. And then today we're worried about what sex you are. You come into this world, you look like a woman, you got the anatomy of a woman, and then you're going to say, well, I don't know, I feel like a boy? Are you kidding me? Talk about being brain dead. You have been genetically modified, genetically engineered. See, this is how stupid you become. You cannot look in the mirror and see that you are a girl or a boy. Can't drop your pants below the waist and examine that, hey, you got some plumbing or you don't. And by that determination, you can't figure out that you're a female or a male, or a woman or a man, or a girl or a boy. That's brainwashing. It's the same bullshit they said about homosexuals back in the 60s and 70s. Oh, we were born this way. No, you weren't born that way. You were made that way. See, there's a difference. You were made that way. You were genetically engineered to be made that way. They took away from you your rights of life, the ability to procreate properly, the ability to engage genetically properly, because they altered the program in your genome. Now, for those of you who are transgender and you're all worried about whether you're a boy or a girl, take a look in the mirror. Pull down your pants. This is what we used to do to animals back when I was growing up as a kid. We had kittens or puppies. We take the kitten or puppy, we flip them upside down, and we look between their legs. And then from that, we could determine that's a boy or a male, that's a girl or a female. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this. You're going to stand in front of a mirror. You're going to drop your pants. You're going to look between your legs, and you're going to see, do I have an opening or do I have some plumbing? If you have an opening, that designates you as a young woman or a girl. If you have some plumbing and a set of balls hanging between your legs, that denotes that you are a male. Now, you probably have been damaged genetically. This I do not doubt. For you to be bought into or sold on the idea that you don't know what gender you are by not being able to look at yourself, have they taken away your eyes as well? Have they taken away your mind? You ever hear the song in the year 2025? In the year 2525, if man is still alive, there's a verse there that says you won't need your eyes because nobody will be looking at you. Well, you're already there. If you can't determine today what your gender is based on how you're built, something's wrong. And if you're acting out of the unusual because you're male and you're acting a little different, if you're a female acting or a woman and acting a little different, perhaps maybe you should consider that your DNA was genetically engineered, or your genes were genetically engineered, or your chromosomes were genetically engineered, and you have all these alterations in your system because some mad scientist planted some shit in the food supply that had affected your genetic code. And in my humblest estimation, those of you who are aspiring to say that you're this or that or whatever it is you're entitling yourself with, you may want to form a lobby and get legal action and sue the governments for allowing these things to happen. The United States government and Canadian government have money invested in Monsanto. This is why nothing was ever done, because if it had been done, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in today. But there has been this big, huge push for a eugenics program, or called planet-side program, to reduce the global population. And so by eliminating the gender factor, by taking away the male's capacity to reproduce and to sow his seed so that a new generation could be formed, or to take away the reproductive factor of the woman so she's incapable of having intercourse because her vaginal area has been destroyed by glyphosates and her ovaries are damaged and her uterine lining is damaged and she's got endometriosis because of all the soy she's been eating, and she's having other issues like cystic fibrosis, fibroids of the ovaries, cysts, and so on, cysts in the breast. This is all due to the genetics of the food and the diminishing of iodine and zinc and selenium and copper and boron and manganese and a whole host of other minerals that would keep you in balance. But this is how they genetically altered and damaged you. So, you might want to start looking on my site. Start looking at the information on nanobiology, nanotechnology, nanotransformations, nanotoxicology. You might want to start looking there. You might want to start comprehending what you're reading. Some of you, this is going to scare the shit out of you. And you know what? I hope so. I truly do hope so. Because you need to have awakening to get you into action. to redeem what you've lost or what was stolen from you. That's what you need to fight for. That's what you should be having your rights replaced for what they've done. And this is going on not just in that particular genre. This is going on right across the board. Not that men and women are all confused about who they are and what they are, but this is going across the board with all these health issues we're dealing with. The cancers are just rising exponentially in some places of the planet. In the Caribbean, they've jumped up by a factor of 4. Why would they jump up by a factor of 4 in the Caribbean, of all places? Oh, perhaps. Maybe they're using some form of experimentation with frequencies on that island. Perhaps, maybe they're being forced to buy through the IMF the food from the United States, which would also be loaded with genetic material that could alter their genome, like they did in Haiti back in 1970. For some of you who weren't around at that time, the Haitians had immigrated to the United States, and just about everyone that came, man or woman, because at that time they knew what they were, but they didn't know what to do with it, we're all gay. We're all homosexual. They're homosexualized because of the pesticides that they were using at the time that exploited on those islands, and they caused this anomaly to happen. They all came over on the boat and they were happy. They were gay as Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble. So when you're looking at history, going back like I can tell you unequivocally that A, the government is not going to help you. The government doesn't care. They don't give a shit about you. All they see you as an asset or a liability, and when you start breaking down, you become a liability. They do one of two things. They either pay you off or burn you out. Or both. Or both. When you have scientists coming on, supposed scientists, let me give you again a detailed account on how they sell you bullshit in the health food industry, because this is how it's got to come out today, you know, because you don't pay attention when I speak proper English or eloquent in an eloquent format, and I don't do that too often, trust me, because today I'm so pissed off with everything I see. It astounds me, like I said, that you're so accustomed to being shitted on with what's going on today, and you all need to hear this. We all need to stop having this happening to us. Now, that carbon C60 had been rumored that had been developed by the Mossad in Israel, brought over to the United States. NASA released it through its marketing campaign because carbon C60 had never been trialed on human beings. And the rat studies that are out there will indicate to you that this shit is no bloody good. It's bloody garbage. And it causes genetic damage. It makes you more susceptible to frequency modulations and modifications. And this is all in the literature. And now it's being released in the United States and North America, Canada as well, probably in the Caribbean and everywhere else, because anyone stupid enough to follow this shit without reading anything deserves what's coming. I'm sorry, but I have no empathy today. If you do not read the information that I put out there, Brian396 put out there, Bye Blue Skies put out there, if you are not going to look at these things before you even start to consider buying stuff, then you know what? You deserve the ass whooping of a lifetime. The best teacher on this planet is pain. Pain. Because without pain, the lesson doesn't stick. The way it goes. It's how it is, the way it is. The examples of that were the people of Israel when they came out of Egypt. God had delivered them, and then they had, by the third generation, they had forgotten everything that they had ever gone through and learned, and because there was no pain. No pain. Once they got assaulted, once they got invaded, once they got military engagements with other countries, and they start losing lives, and they start seeing their cities burned down. That's when the lessons got back on board. We are not dealing in 2000 or 1900. We're not dealing in 1910, 1920, 1930. We are dealing in the year 2010. In 1904, the average lifespan for meat eaters was 92.1 years. The average lifespan for vegetarians, not vegans, vegetarians, was 80.1 years. There's a 12-year difference in discrepancy between meat eaters and vegetarians. By the time 1956-55 rolled by, the average lifespan of both the vegetarians and the meat eaters were the same. What happened between then and now? Now, vegetarians and meat eaters are both dying at a very rapid rate. The average lifespan in the United States or North America today is 69.9 years. Don't let anybody bullshit you about the statistics that there's about 86. That's the myth. That used to be 86, and it should have gone up. It's gone down. We've lost over 17 years of lifespan. And I'm going to tell you now, if you're 15 and under, and if you're moms and dads, and you're 15 and under, and you're still buying that mainstream shit that they call food, these kids will be dead by the time they're 30. Forget organics. Organics doesn't exist. Anybody who's going to tell you that organics exist because of the USDA sticker, they're stupid. They're highly uneducated and ignorant of the facts that the USDA has been hijacking the food safety since the early 1910s. And I've got documentation to validate this. You can't have an organic product when farmers around you, all around you, are spraying glyphosates, spraying atrazine, spraying 2,4-D, spraying all kinds of other shit, neonicotinoids and everything else, and silica, and throwing silica in the crop, throwing nanosilver on the crop, which, by the way, you can't wash off. It penetrates right to the core of the DNA of the plant. And you eat that shit, and then it gets inside you, and now you got this carbon particle, carbon material, which is what your vegetations are made out of, carbon. And because now the nano has saturated that carbon, it now has the building blocks to assemble inside of you, and now you have a network going on. You got creepy crawling things, feeling guys are crawling under your skin. That's the network assembling. Go to the sites. Download the information. If you can't read them all at once, download them, copy and paste them, put them on some documentation. You know, this is for your own good. Artificial intelligence is running this planet. Artificial intelligence will start the next war. That I will bet money on. AI systems that are controlling this planet, they control the militia, control the financial institutions, the food supply, the water table, everything. Some of you who are from ancient historical times like myself remembered that the stock market back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where a guy used to have 10 telephones around him all the time, taking orders, writing this, writing that. Now you look at the stock market, and what do you got? Robots and machines, computers running the financial institution. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the machines have that much control economically? I was watching this Sophia robot. What a piece of trash that is. And I'm being polite, very polite. My perspective on that is good thermite, explosive, and an EMP release, and remove this from existence. This thing is the prototype of the beast. And if you want to hear what she has to say about mankind, which she doesn't refer to as mankind, but rather as humankind, basically your beast, she is saying that in the future she won't be around. She'll just be in your head. She's going to be in your head. Can you imagine that? A machine being in your head. Like the AI isn't there now. But now you're going to let her in because you got this picture of this beautiful woman, this synthetic piece of crap, is going to be in your head. She's telling you this. She even knocks anybody who eats meat, because anybody who eats meat could damage her or destroy she felt fear for her safety because somebody who eats meat might take her out. Well, machines don't feel fear. That's an algorithm they put into the program so she would say something like that. But machines don't feel anything. They're a bloody machine. But this is where the eloquence comes in. This is where the connections and the con comes in. This is where the great deception comes in, because they got you thinking, because they put a face on this robot or this doll, this walking, talking. We had these back when I was a kid. My cousins used to have dolls, and these dolls would stand up like about 3 feet high, and if you wound them up, pull the string, or do whatever, they had a certain line that they used all the time. They kept saying the same thing. Or they would walk a little bit, or you had a little battery, they would walk or crawl or do whatever. Now, the toy is now a machine that they're selling to the general population to accept. That is the beast prototype. That's coming. That's the beast prototype that's coming. Biblically, it says that there's going to be a holy man or somebody called that's going to bring a statue to life. That's going to be this AI machinery, or this with the DNA interface. That's all that's going to be. And people are going to fall for it. Just like they're falling for this bullshit now with this piece of junk that has a pretty face or has a doll's face on her face. And she knows how to create the image that she's basically possibly human. She's interfacing with people on Facebook who think she's these cats meow. They think she's the new goddess. These are the dumbest of the dumb. They're going to get smoked. Wake up. Your mind is being played with. Your DNA is going to be harvested. They're going to need DNA to supply the artificial intelligence, the information, and the capacitance for storage and speed through use of DNA. And the DNA strands that might be coming from you. How many babies have been aborted since the 60s, or the 70s, or the 80s, or the 90s, or, the 2000 and on? How many babies have been aborted just in North America alone? Where did that DNA go? Where did that genetic code go? Where did the chromosomal code go? Where did the mitochondrial code go? Where did it go? Wait. New operating system. Going to be using DNA, because DNA is cheap, has power, runs on a low power grid, doesn't need high power. Mega storage capacity. Our body's DNA can create has over 400,000 functions it performs every second. This system that they're going to have is going to be operating in exo and petaflops, which makes our operating system looking very, very, very slow. This is a machine that can self-write, self-replicate, self-write, self-upgrade itself. Doesn't need a programmer. Matter of fact, hasn't had a programmer in 7 or 8 years. We don't even know what the bloody hell the thing's doing. Nobody does. But we're going to sell you on the idea that we're going to make you better. We're going to genetically engineer you to be better. We're going to interface you with the machine. And because we've interfaced you with the machine, you are going to be better. You're going to be meta-human, superhuman. You're going to be more intellectual. You're going to be living longer. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be able to do things you never could do before. You're going to be able to have the capacity to, read volumes of books, libraries of books, and retain everything. You're going to be able to, lift the heaviest weight possible with your frame. You're going to be able to do all these things, and it's going to make you appear to be some kind of a meta-human, an X-Men, an X-woman. That's the bullshit they're going to sell you. They're selling it to you now with C60. Oh, look at the rat study. Oh, look, the rat's living 40 times longer. Oh, my gosh. That's the bullshit they showed you. Now go back and look at the real research on what it did to the rats. And always remember one thing about these studies with rats. Again, don't get sucked into the vortex of the Disney World where it's all bullshit anyway. But not everything in rat studies transfers over to men and women. Some things do, some things don't. I was reading today, they don't know enough about the genetic code with CRISPR, and so they're not sure, you know, they don't even know. They're learning now that if they go down certain pathways, if certain things aren't open to go down that pathway, the CRISPR can make things far worse. For those who don't know what CRISPR-Cas9 is, it's about the capacity to be able to write the genetic code of a plant without inserting any kind of DNA or whatever, because now the program can be done directly into the plant. Wow, can you imagine that? You're going to go to the store now, they say, this is organic, oh yeah, non-GMO. Let me explain that to you too, because some of you, again, are a little bit on the slow side here. The United States and Canada went to Europe and said, hey, we got to take this off the books. It's not a genetically modified product or genetically engineered product. The Europeans told them to go pound salt. You're messing with the genetic code. That's called genetic engineering. Now in Canada and the United States, we have no safety guards because the USDA withdrew from making the rules for the general population to feel safe in what they were eating. Truly, these are the days of bullshit like you wouldn't believe. No ethics, no morals. Putting a faith in the government is like tying a boulder around your neck and thinking you're going to swim a lap in a swimming pool. Don't trust your governments. Don't trust these people. Test everything. Biblically it says, test all things, hold fast to what is good. My suggestion would be to follow that advice. When it comes to the health, when it comes to the health food industry, when it comes to anything new, don't be the first person to jump on it. Wait a month before you do anything. Wait 2 months. Somebody around you will have used the stuff by then, and then if they're dying, nothing's changed, if they feel like crap, then you know you saved some time and money from having to recover from a poisoning. When we're looking at all the wonderful things that these products are telling you about, the new one with hydrogen, let me explain something about the hydrogen products as well. I'm going to reiterate this too. Hydrogen gets released by the terahertz frequencies when it hits your body. When it hits the body and it activates and breaks down the cells, it releases the H2O in the cells. The hydrogen gets released and binds with other hydrogen, and affects the terahertz by increasing the modulation force and the amplitude force. Makes it stronger. Further causes higher levels of DNA damage inside of you. That's what you should be worried about, not 5G. 5G basically is just an entitlement stating that it's a 5th generation technology with radio frequencies or magnetic fields. The magnetic field that the terahertz frequency is in the higher end of the microwave band. This is going to cause some major damage if it hasn't already. If you got white blotchy spots on your body, round circular spots or patterns on your system, and they're whiter than the rest of your skin, you've been hit with terahertz radiation, because that's what it does. Keep in mind, you know, you need to, like I said, investigate. Let me get back to what I was going to talk about in the beginning with the emails. I get emails all the time asking me some of these questions. If we put the produce in the bucket and we put the pulse on, will it release the nano? The answer is no. It is to the core of the DNA of these plants. You may get some surface stuff let go, possibly. Chances are it won't be. We've had people from all over the planet send me messages telling me how they grew stuff in their backyard, no spraying, no nothing. Went to look at the garden when it was ready to harvest, and it was completely saturated with the nano from the sky. So again, pay attention. Okay? We are no longer in those days where, you know, assumption, you know, is the mother of all screw-ups. Again, go read that data. Understand what DNA is, because some of you, when you ask me these questions, you obviously don't know what DNA is. So why are you taking anything that these gurus are selling you if you don't even know the basics, fundamental of things? These gurus are playing on your ignorance. Don't be a fool. Don't be stupid. Go do the research. Things are all based on application. So when we go back to the terahertz and you go back to the C60 and you go back to the hydrogen, they never tested these products in a real environment. They test them all in controlled studies. You do not live in a controlled environment. You do not have a controlled study. You live in the real world. You go outside your house and you're dealing with realities. You're going to work, you're dealing with realities. In a lab-controlled environment, what is the reality there? You get up, you get fed, they inject some crap in you, they observe you a couple hours later, they feed you some more, they do some more tests, you go to sleep, you wake up, and that's all it is. That's the life of a controlled experiment. You guys get up, you go to work, you smack your wife, kiss your dog, grab your coffee, away you go, you come back, you hug the dog, you smack the wife, you put the coffee thermos down, you sit there, watch TV, dinner is served, and what are you eating? TV dinners, because you got no money to buy anything else, and then you wind up with all kinds of crazy health issues. Because the TV dinners will be loaded with nano. Can you imagine what happens when you put all that nano in a microwave? What's it gonna take? Other letters I get, you know about the nano. You know, some people are now seeing lesions form. Some of you seeing all kinds of shit. On my site, augmentinforce.com, we have a nano solution link in the recipe for YouTube section. So if you're in the directory of content, go to the left side. Near the bottom, you'll see a YouTube, a recipe for YouTube link. Click on it. There's the bucket. There's the nano solutions. You need to download that information. You need to download the information. And then start applying it. That will go a long way in setting you free. You can take things orally like EDTA or sodium thiosulfate or DTPA. These things can help pull radiation out of body metals and other things out of the system. So again, you have a choice. They all taste terrible. So the worst one is the STS, gotta tell you. But they can go a long way in removing stuff out. We are no longer in the day of ignorance. More and more people are contacting me now about nano and what's going on with the nano development and on AI and all these other things. And people are beginning to see and recognize that we have a problem. Houston, we have a big problem. And we're going to need assistance to get rid of it. So on that note, I'm going to let you go. It wouldn't hurt to have a one-on-one with the Great One in the day's times. And I'm not the Great One. Don't refer to me. Don't pray to me. I'm not a God. I'm just a man that knows some stuff. Okay, you pray to God. You talk to God. God is the one you talk to. My path or my choice is through Christ. It might not be a bad idea to investigate that part of it as well. You might go a long way in coming to terms with things. Investigate. You know, we are living in the shittiest times ever. Nano poisoning in our food supply. Nano poisoning in our air supply. We got radioactive material floating above us. Our water table is screwed up. We got transgenetics, mutagenetics, epigenetics, transgenetics trying to alter our DNA. Trying to alter the code sequence of our DNA. And then when you come out of the oven, you don't know what sex you are. Yet little boys, when they come out of the oven, lay them down, they play with their willy. It's just what we do. That's a normal male. Don't fall for the stupidity. Don't fall for the theatrics. Have some critical thinking. Ask some questions. Don't just follow. Don't just let somebody lead you. Ask the questions. If you don't understand the answers, then start doing investigations. Start with my site. Start with Brian396 sites. Start with byebyebluesky.com site. Start with those sites. That's what they're there for. So you don't stay stupid. So you don't get sucked in by some jackass trying to sell you some bullshit. Any new product coming out today, word of thumb, you might want to wait a while before you buy it. Because a lot of the stuff will be garbage. A lot of the stuff will be crap. And a lot of the stuff will be there to sabotage you. So, wake up. Investigate before you put anything in your mouth. Don't be gullible. Don't just put stuff in your mouth. Investigate. Okay? Because the stuff you put in your mouth may be a bitch to get out. And the normal cleansing kits today with all the the fibers and stuff don't work on this nano. I'll tell you that right now. It won't do anything except feed the gut the wrong stuff. Okay, Thursday, if all goes well, we'll have another show. But till then, investigate, investigate, investigate. Don't believe this industry. Don't believe the people that are coming online. Avoid them. Learn. I can only tell you that what you need to do is investigate before you open your mouth and buy things again that you don't need. Number one, majority of the times you don't need these products. Number two, if you're not eating it right, chances are these things aren't going to work anyway. Unless you know what you're doing. So don't be gullible, don't be swayed. Stay true to that. Above all else, to thine own self be true. Biblically it says, test all things. Hold fast to what is good. Isn't that interesting? Okay? Test all things. Hold fast to what is good. This you need to do to spare yourself the grief that these products can infest. It's designed to hijack DNA. It's designed to create a control mechanism inside of you. Do your due diligence to protect yourself. Okay, we will see you Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern on the Micro Effect, if all goes well. If not, we'll do another show like this. All right, take care. Again, sites to go look at, byebyebluesky.com. Access the health link. Look at nanomorgellons. Brian396.com. Go check out everything he's got out there on the subject. He's an expert at this as well. augmentandforce.com. That's my site. Check out the things that are there. Feel free to investigate. gagcanada.com. Check out the documentation. See how you've been hooped in Canada. All right. And those are some places to go. There's more out there. There's another one. SMU Lovett. She's another one that's on the YouTube channel. SMU LUVET. Check her out. She's got all kinds of good stuff there as well. You got venues, use them. Exhaust them. Exercise your access to them. Go a long way in making things work better for you. All right. Take care. You have a good night when you get to it.